Hey, and I'm live here at your box store carbohydrate station. I just want to say thank you for coming to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. I am your griot Sensei Al Bob, here to tell you a story. Remember, the show is just for entertainment's sake. You know, this ain't a cult. This ain't a belief structure. You know, this ain't a worldview. This is kind of like the Truman Show mixed with Mary Hartman, Archie Bunker, and Cheers, all rolled into one. A little bit of Sanford and Son. So, good to see you. I had all my teeth ripped out of my head Wednesday. So, toothless. I'm a gummy boy. Ice coffee, yum yum. Hot coffee. Yum yum. This is a homage to my mother. She would drink, we'd have 2 cups, iced coffee, hot coffee, ice coffee, winter, summer, fall. So she did that along with a little Manhattan thrown in for spice. I don't do that. But I think it got in there because she was smoking like 3 packs of cigarettes a day and drinking a fifth of Manhattans a day while I was in Europe. I think that's why I came out the way I did. And praise Jesus. I think that was like her form of birth control, because the 2 that came before me, one was, there were no abortions back in the 50s, 40s, and she had a stillbirth and a miscarriage. And if my parents had a choice, they wouldn't have had kids. So, I think we have to do this live chat. Yep, live chat. So, get all the kids away from the screen. Put cotton in their ears, because we're going to talk about things that I shouldn't. So I want you to go onto my channel, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob, and go to my channel, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. Go to playlist and go to things you should see, what's going on, and kind of thumb through these things. And I have a lot, like, Donald Trump performance, tirade, 8 ways the world could suddenly end, Jordan Maxwell's Vatican Secrets. That's a very good one. Anything Jordan Maxwell does is worth your while to go check out. Insanity of nuclear deterrence, meaning we should just get rid of nuclear weapons, because we've had so many mistakes, so many oops, and the world is still here. When Boris Yeltsin was president of Russia, Russia was kind of falling apart, and just as we are today. You know, we have, I don't know, about 700 buried Minuteman III and Titan missiles around our country with hydrogen bombs on top, some MIRVed, many hydrogen bombs. And we've had a number of, of accidents, and the guy who runs those missiles was just taken out of his position because he's an alcoholic. And he has been in a number of places drunk out of his mind, right? And he's the guy who's second in command to turn the key, right? He's the guy who gives out, Mr. President, we need to launch some missiles. So, and the second in command was taken out of office for really bad things that you should go look up. And the third guy, the last, all the way into George W.'s time when Dick Cheney was president, we have fired most of the Air Force has been a joke, right? And they spend, hundreds of billions a year. Mostly goes into people's pockets, like our missile silos, right? Were built in the 50s and 60s. The computers that run them run on floppy disks the size of an LP, right? The last bits of my exposure to jungle juice antibiotics. Anyway, things can't get any more hallucinogenic, and that's the new normal. And and there is a great. I have a lot of things here that are about people who are on who are basically homeless, and they're all like you know the illusion of the wealthy middle class suburban life. It's here we go.
DuPage County, Illinois is a comfortable home. Street.
Anyway, I was going to play something that shows that the middle class is being hollowed out. And what's Mr. Malfoog saying here?
Real quick, and I will full screen this. All across the United States, but really almost like 50% of the United States. And then, of course, there was a cellular outage, and it looked almost the same. So I don't know if that had any effect on mine, but my internet is going in and out. And before it goes back out, I've got Matt from Boston here who called into the show, and we got cut off in the middle. So you have some information that you want. Continuation of our two.
It would be best if
So this guy, I like Malfoog News. Anyway, so we have so many problems, and what's interesting. I go on to radio, and right now my satellite radio is turned on for about a week to see if I can be roped into signing on. But why should I pay for satellite radio when it's just as bad as terrestrial radio? Commercials, control speak, news speak. And what's really interesting is of all the Democrats winning, the one person that you hear nothing about is Tulsi Gabbard. And one person, she's a woman of color. She's an indigenous person. She served in the military, became a major, served in Afghanistan and Iraq. Ran a business. Anyway, so it's mind-boggling. And every time she goes on TV, she shows the media up for lying sacks of excrement that they are, without any really muss or fuss. And MSNBC won't have her back on. CNN doesn't like her on because she shows that they're lying through their teeth, and that's what's good about Donald Trump, because he is illuminating beyond a shadow of doubt what politicians are. But Tulsi Gabbard, Gabbard. She should be our president. But you don't even hear about her. And where is this? There is if you go to my playlist, you'll see, and here's Anonymous. And these guys are really good.
Dear sisters and brothers, we are slaves. We are being exploited in every possible way. We live under an economical system that transfers the wealth from the people to the pockets of the elites. Sadly, most of the population are still unaware of how the 1% are looting the rest of us. It's for this reason that in this video, I will reveal few of the many ways in which the New World Order elites are discreetly extracting our wealth.
And the fact of the matter is that there's a refusal on both the Democratic and the Republican side of the aisle to acknowledge the mathematical problem, which is that the United States of America is being extracted. It's being extracted through banking, it's being extracted through trade, and it's being extracted through taxation. And there's not a single politician that has stepped forward, Susan, to deal with this.
We could live in a world where the countries could issue their own money, free of interests, but instead, a private banking cartel, through wars, threats, bribes, and murders, have taken over the issuance of currency, turning money into debt, and demanding it to be paid back with interests. That means an important part of the taxes you pay wouldn't need to be paid if your government could issue its own money free of interests. It's expected that in the next 10 years, United States will have to pay more than $4 trillion in interests. Can you imagine all the things that US could build with all this money? The interests are the weapon the bankers use to steal our wealth and bankrupt our nations. In the past, 2 U.S. presidents, Kennedy and Lincoln, gave the power to issue money to the Congress, but they both got killed and their reforms voided.
And all this stuff, the Fed just shouldn't exist. You believe the same thing. Make the case.
Well, for the first reason is it's not authorized in the Constitution, so it's an illegal institution. And the second reason, it's an immoral institution because we have delivered to a secretive body the privilege of creating money out of thin air. If you or I did it, it would be called counterfeiters. So why have we legalized counterfeiting?
central banks are private, corrupt, and non-transparent institutions who use their power to issue money to enrich themselves and their close friends. Why should society give the power to create something as important as currency to a private institution which is accountable to anyone? Isn't that stupid? Let's see what kind of things occur when you let this happen.
Well, I have a copy of the Inspector General Act here in front of me, and it says, among other things, that it's your responsibility to conduct and supervise audits and investigations relating to the programs and operations of your agency.
That's correct.
So I'm asking you if your agency has, in fact, according to Bloomberg, extended $9 trillion in credit, which, by the way, works out to $30,000 for every single man, woman, and child in this country. I'd like to know, if you're not responsible for investigating that, who is?
We have responsibility for the Federal Reserve's programs and operations audits, to conduct audits and investigations in that area. In terms of who's responsible for investigating, would you mind repeating the question one more time?
What have you done to investigate the off-balance sheet transactions conducted by the Federal Reserve, which, according to Bloomberg, now total $9 trillion in the last 8 months?
I'll have to look specifically at that Bloomberg article. I don't know if I have actually seen that particular one.
That's not the point. The question is, have you done any investigation or auditing of off-balance sheet transactions conducted by the Federal Reserve?
At this point, we're conducting our lending facility project at a fairly high level and have not gotten to a specific level of detail to really be in a position to respond to your question.
Have you conducted any investigation or auditing of the losses that the Federal Reserve has experienced on its lending since last September?
We're still in the process of conducting that review, and until we actually, go out and gather the information, I'm not in.
So that's just the tip of the iceberg of our governmental system. The level of corruption is pretty outstanding. Here's another one.
But be that difficult, we don't know. I don't know what motivates the CIA. I guess they want to protect the United States. But we can't think of any way that you could control the climate of one part of the world without controlling the whole world. Putting clouds in the stratosphere would have a global effect, not a local effect. And so it's hard to think of a way it could actually be weaponized, but maybe they want to think about that. I don't know.
Geoengineering is weather modification on a global scale. Many refer to this as chemtrails. The dispute as to whether or not these programs are going on is really a moot point. We have more than enough data. We have actual footage.
As you're seeing now, to show that these tankers are indeed spraying at altitude. The materials we see showing up in the ground are the exact materials named in numerous geoengineering patents, as many as 150 patents. So at this point, the notion that these programs are not going on is simply denial. Skies like this, many have grown to think are natural, but they're anything but. And we've seen this for so long now, and it's been ramped up at such a steady pace that people have simply become used to skies like this. Anybody who thinks grid patterns like this are natural should recheck their reality. This is anything but natural. We seldom see blue skies anymore. Skies like this have all too often become the norm. Unfortunately, most people don't even look up. I think at times you could start the sky on fire, nobody would notice. It's exactly what geoengineering patents call for: solar observation to block the sun with the consequences into account. The planet is like a lab for them, and they seem to not be able to look outside that bubble. This is halos around the sun. We see often as the atmosphere is filled with particulates. It's important to understand rails from horizon to horizon does not mean you're not breathing particulates. We seldom see blue skies anymore. They're a silvery white color, especially in the mornings or the afternoons. If you look to the east or to the west, and you block the sun with something, you can see the air is very silvery white. This is indicative of an atmosphere saturated with particulates. These particulates create drought. This is a very known and not disputed effect of geoengineering. As you saturate the atmosphere with particulates, you diminish rain. People need to get this through their head. This is not about seeding to increase rain. This is about creating artificial clouds.
Yeah. This goes on every day. I pointed out, look at that. And people go, let's see. The Zygus movie, you should go watch that. You know, Donald Trump is doing everything. You know, he's not doing anything. He's just on the set of The Apprentice. And, you know, he sounds like a 6-year-old bully. Because that's all he is. But he's probably mind controlled, but still, that's not, you know. Our discount dystopia. Oh, there's 2 of you there. Anyway, here it is, Friday. I guess the 30th. Am I not connected to the Wi-Fi network? I thought I am. Anyway. Any of you guys got anything to say? So that's just a little bit. I mean, go to my channel, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. Go to my playlist and just scroll through it. There's a lot of good stuff there. And then 18 months, you know, between now and November 8th of 2020, we had the opportunity to bring everybody home to love's co-creation. Love. Yeah, you look at the Old Testament. You know, God was a pretty wrathful dude. He was like a drunk, bad, deadbeat father, you know, ignoring his children. And getting pissed off because the guilt he felt. That was the Old Testament God. Then the New Testament God, who the heck is Beamy? J-Dog, who's Beamy? Bimney? Is Beamy a that's your favorite version of God, the wrathful, deadbeat, drunk, divorced dad? That's your best? Oh, come on. Bernie Sanders is a, you know, a scumbag sock puppet. He had, you know, he had won the Democratic nomination, but he let Hillary take it, and then the upper echelon of the Dems went to Bernie. Hey, just go along with this, and we'll give you a lot of money, a lot of power, and just don't complain. I mean, he won California hands down. That's what WikiLeaks shows. It showed that the DNC and Hillary basically stole. If you went to any of Bernie's rallies, 40,000 people. He had more people than Donnie. So if Donnie ran against Bernie would be president right now. And the powers that shouldn't be, and the stock puppets didn't want that. You should go read a book called None Dare Call It Conspiracy by Gary Allen. And I knew Gary Allen back in the day when Dr. Quigley taught at Georgetown University. I wasn't matriculating. I was just sitting in, being the good student, being the adept. And you should go read Dr. Quigley's books. He was the brains, he was the scholar, not the brains, the scholar of the CFR. And his noble guy, smart guy, put it out what it is. Go read his books. Go read any of the things that on the Tavistock Institute, the Karazi mob, which is who's ruling the world today. The Luciferian Illuminati, which is just a poster of the hidden hand. And go read anything you can about Albert Pike in the 1740s, right? He brought on the artists, right, of the Freemasons. Anyway, my teeth are healing, and these are short things. I can't really do anything up at the school. You hear that? That's from the toxic wasteland that the canary in the coal mine has precipitated. I have to wait until, I wish he would just get it over with and do it and, let a week go by so I could go back to my bed. The A-frame is quite nice. It's cool. It's well ventilated. It doesn't have the toxic adventure environment of the canary in the coal mine. Purchased these paints. Were probably outlawed by everyone. I mean, like Lowe's, you couldn't buy it at Lowe's, you couldn't buy it anywhere. He got it off the internet, and they sent it to him. And there's an instruction booklet saying this stuff is really nasty. Use it with care. Wear a spacesuit, a respirator. The cans are specially designed to not leak. So he tore them open because he didn't read the instructions on how to open them. And the canary in the coal mine is the prime example of where humanity in its doped mud puppet state is. And, we go along with everything. I mean, those little videos I showed you, we seem to go along with it all. And, well, we're down to one. So at 30 minutes and 30 seconds, I'm out of here. Okay. I love you all. And by next week, my mouth will be healed up enough to where I can talk without pain. It's, not so much. It's also that I'm eating, I'm gumming soft foods. Oh, so there we are. We're getting there. I always feel better, because I always look for the better thing in life, not the worst. I'm not coming from the worst place. I'm coming from my best place. Before I started this, I had a great conversation with I'm in the other side of town. So the most people here are black and Hispanic. I had a great conversation with some elderly people. And they were looking at me like some crazy cracker. And then I started talking to them. Who are you? Where you come from? You're not like any white person I ever talked to. I said, yeah, because I'm not. And so that's the best thing I've done today. I'm now going off to the mayor and a bunch of religious guys, because they used to have this thing for the poor kids for summer, right? And the city's making more money than they ever have, and they cut that out of the budget because they saw it as not needed, because they're in the process of rebranding the city and gentrifying neighborhoods and ground, and that's more important, to get people out of their house, poor people out of their houses, and gentrify them so the yuppies can move in. Anyway, so that's where we are. Yeah, I know I'm a youngster. I've always been the kid. That was my nickname forever, the kid. And then I was the dude. Then I was the man. When I worked for social services and in New York City Housing Authority, I was the man. And then I was the good man, because my partner was like the evil bitch from hell. And then I was Doc. And I was Doc Banner when I was working out. Then I was a number of cream cheese, yum yum, anytime, on time, the man on time. These are all my nicknames. That lasted a long, getting jiggy with it. Word up. What else? And then Owl came along, and that's been my nom de plume. Sensei, Al, then Sensei Al, then Griot Sensei Al Bob. And that's been going on since about 91. 91, I got Al. 95, Griot Sensei Al Bob. And I've had that ever since. Anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. But definitely, I'll get more on the ball by mid next week, because I'm still going to be around the school until 2 weeks from now, or 2 weeks from next Wednesday, when I'll have they're going to rearrange my jaw. Now that I have no teeth, I'm going to do things to it to level it off, and so 6 months now they can maybe put dentures in there. But anyway, that's the plan, and I'll see you guys later. Hold on, it's almost time to go. 3 minutes and 33 seconds.